Welcome to another episode of Shakti Living. I also do my segment, Shakti Answers, but this time we have a special guest in studio with us today. He's all the way from Tampa, Florida, which is a little scary, conservative.
Right. Very conservative.
Conservative, beautiful, right?
It
it's
is.
A vibe,
I enjoy
right?
it. It's a total vibe.
I just want to dive in just a little bit into your background, who you are. You go by Black Label, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's isn't that, I don't drink, but isn't that an alcohol?
It is, but it's not my persona.
Okay.
Black Label, the definition of Black Label is top tier.
Okay.
So you have Black Label Services, which is who I am. My name is Black Label, and I provide bodyguard services and luxury transportation for celebrities, athletes, influencers, artists, and things like that.
Okay.
In the state of Florida. So it's top tier, Black Label, and then you have God.
Okay. So you are working in the concierge hospitality world of providing celebrities with, you said, cars?
Bodyguard, executive protection, luxury transportation.
Okay. Oh, bodyguards and stuff like that. Okay. So how'd you get into that? And how'd you get the name Black Label?
So I was born and raised in the south side of St. Petersburg. What
is St. Petersburg?
So St. Petersburg, Florida is a very small city. It's 7 minutes over a bridge from Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
It's one of the most right now is one of the most pristine pieces of the land that people, they save on an annual to come into St. Pete, Clearwater, the beaches. Have cleaned it up and gentrified it extensively.
St. Petersburg, but it wasn't like that.
It was not like that.
Okay.
My name is actually like an oxymoron. If you ever really seen a really fat person, they call them tiny.
Oh, yeah.
So now here I'm the only white kid growing up all black neighborhoods, so they call me Black.
Oh, I got it. Wow. Okay.
Right. So that's how I got the name Black, and then Black Label. Over the time, I understood the definition to be top tier, and I always excelled in business and went above and beyond, and my consigliere and hospitality and things of that nature.
Okay. So this is how you talk,
This is
1,000%.
100%.
Does everyone ask you that?
They do.
Are they if you close your eyes, do you hear BBC? No,
right,
just
right. Absolutely.
So you grew up in in this rough area, and what was the byproduct of that? Did your life turn out like roses, or did you get into trouble, or
concrete roses? If that's okay to say.
Roses.
Yeah, concrete roses. So I grew up, through the depth of the crack, through the soil, and it was very abusive for me coming up. My mother was an alcoholic. Oof. So with that environment, broken home, never knew my father, and then going out into, leaving the house and going out to the front yard, of course, to, an all black, crime-riddled environment where nobody loves, themselves, but you don't know how to love yourself as a child because you wasn't taught properly.
Yeah.
So that's where you become a product of your environment.
Yes.
People physically abused me, mentally abused me, took things from me, stole from me constantly. This went on from the age of 4 to about 11 years old, and then I decided to stand up for myself. And between those ages, those adolescent ages, it turned me into a real homegrown monster. To say, as far as protection of my own self, as far as having the ideology that there's nobody else who's going to save me other than me. Yeah. So you need to grow up really fast and understand the ideology that you live in the jungle, and that you need to be, the king of the jungle before this is over with.
Okay. Obviously, I understand attachment styles and which is what I want to get into, the intimacy and the relationship aspects of your life, what you do and how you operate in them now, because that's the part that's fascinating to me. But you said something you weren't loved, and you were met with abuse.
Correct.
And you weren't shown how to love yourself, or you weren't loved in that sense.
Right.
And so you just grow up, and it's typically what I say with women who've been, and for men too, but women who've experienced sexual abuse or things like that, they either go hyposexual or hypersexual, meaning they're very promiscuous. Right. They sleep with a lot of men. Right. They do a lot of stuff extreme, or sometimes they just retreat. Seclusion. And there's no sex at all. Right. So it's the same thing with love and that love from the feminine, which men need. Right. They need the masculine too, but they really need the feminine to affirm their relationships with like their girlfriends, their future wives later on. And when they don't get that, it can be detrimental,
Very detrimental
for their longevity of their intimacy and their relationships.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, like, what was your experience? Like, what was your first sexual experience like? You can share, as much as you'd like, and how did that set the trajectory for your future relationships?
But behind every childhood in America, I just, after doing so many interviews, and in this particular interview, I come to understand that every people in America had some traumatizing issues, whether it was mental abuse, physical abuse, molestation, alcoholism, drug abuse.
Yes.
It's almost like everybody has experience. Now, whether or not you tell it, whether or not that you're open to tell
of
it,
course.
and things of that nature. So I just think it's very important. And I'll answer your question. I was molested. I was molested. And
That was your first,
that was
like,
my first sexual.
What age was that?
I want to say probably around 5. I had an older cousin.
Was it by a girl or
A girl.
Okay.
A girl.
Wow.
And she was being molested by her mother's boyfriend.
Which makes sense.
And she didn't know what she was doing, of course, but then she, projected it.
It was
onto
always,
me.
it's always secular, and there's
Right.
always like, I say learned behavior.
It's learned behavior.
Yeah. It's not
Absolutely.
like,
So I didn't never have a chance to experience and have a growth or a development between my mother being an abusive woman, and then at one point in time, when she caught the molestation from the cousin onto me, she whooped me. Then the cousin's mother whooped me. Then the friend came in and whooped me. This went on and on and on. Progressively, because they was calling me a weirdo. They said I was a rapist. They said I was a serial
At 5?
killer. At 5.
oh, shit.
It was extensive. So the whole time it was the cousin.
Yeah.
It wasn't even me. She projected this onto me.
Yeah. And she was in her teens.
Oh, she was probably about 8, 9 years old at the time.
Shit. So young.
So young. So I was forced into, not being able to pick and choose my virginity, because after that, of course, the molestation just keeps going.
Yeah. And it escalates. And it's
escalates.
almost like it's because your brain hasn't properly formed yet.
Correct.
Then it becomes like an addiction, because it's like you've been exposed before your brain was ready
Right.
to enter into that realm of like
Your
puberty and
chemicals, your
sexuality.
brain,
Yeah,
your
it's
energy
not
to
there.
be able to develop the maturity to have that chemical kick in and say, hey, this is where I want to be. This is where I'm comfortable. It never happened. So it was forced upon me by another young woman. I shared this private intimacy with my followers on my podcast. I think men don't really understand the importance of coming out and expressing the importance of, it's always the woman, the woman being victimized.
Yeah.
But men too can be
There's a
sexualized.
stigma about it. And
Right.
in my practice, I've had many clients who've told me that they've never told their wives, their children, their grandchildren, no one, their therapist, nobody knows.
Yeah,
and they've
everybody's
told
afraid.
me,
Right.
especially in the Black African American community.
Yeah, it's definitely swept.
It's very, especially if it was done by a family member.
Right.
In
It's
their
really
fa-
swept
Ooh.
underneath the record. Two things is mental illness and sexual abuse by a family member. It's swept underneath the rug.
It's swept under the rug. And in the African American community, especially, I think it is for women too, but especially for men, it's like, you don't admit that. You don't say that. You just like take that. Well, that's what he did.
It's almost normalized, unfortunately.
It is. And the women who maybe are protecting those men are just in denial.
Right.
They know it's happening, but they know that they can't really say anything because then they're going to be told like, oh, he's the lead, he's the head of the house, how can you say this? And so she just kind of ignores it. And then she's not protecting her children.
Right.
And trying to keep the peace in the family. But meanwhile, like, this is just so damaging to the child and to their dynamic. And depending on if it's a boy or a girl, then there's some like bitterness that can arise because of the family member, that's having the relationship, like with the daughter. Then it's like she almost doesn't like her because her husband is abusing the daughter, with the son. And with the son, then it's like, well, I'm basically with someone who's gay, so it's kind of
And
let's
then-
not admit it, and let's just pretend it's not happening and just go on and go for it.
In the white community, it's almost normalized that you understand that a white father sleeps with the daughter almost automatically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, it's so
Yeah,
it's so
it's
different.
very
It's weird, like
up.
on both sides.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And then when you have a Caucasian family and you have a father, and it's really insane how the mind goes straight to he fucking his daughter, right off the rip.
Yeah.
Like whether you see it in Disney or you see a family in Busch Gardens or you see a family in Anaheim, it's just like. It's just almost insanely innate and normalized.
A perversion.
It's perverted as shit.
It's a perversion, but it is the collective consciousness. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is that these thoughts, these ideas, these urges, these fantasies, if you will, disgusting fantasies, they don't just happen. They are a part of what we have been taught and what we have been force-fed through media, through songs, through rap music, through music videos, through magazines, through television, through porn.
I think people underestimate the effect of the home first. Everything starts from racism, racism, sexualized abuse, drug addiction, alcohol. Everything starts from the house. When a baby is born, a baby comes out the mother's womb onto a conveyor belt, almost like you building a computer.
Yeah.
When you build a computer, you put the chips, the motherboard, it's going down. You know, you have to program these chips in order for this computer to work. Same thing with the baby that comes out the womb. You have to computerize this child. You see and compartmentalize different things in order for this child to learn, get up, walk, and move, and be able to function in the motherboard that it was taught.
The birth canal, they are missing all the good probiotics from the woman's yoni inside of her. That is an instant immunity for the rest of their life. Then the child comes out, and within seconds, if it's a boy, they're cutting off the tip of your lingam, your penis, without your consent. That's your second trauma as a boy. It's like you didn't have a say so in that, and it's like, wait a minute, we wonder why there's problems with men's erections and stamina and things like that. It's like the trauma starts from when they were born, the day they were born.
Let me ask you this. Autism. And they said the reason, and I'm only saying they, people who put these, they are, for the record, medical stuff.
Yeah.
They say that most boys who are born and have a circumcision are more prone to autism.
I actually had not heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So, but here's the theory behind it. They're saying that it's the Tylenol. So now you have the kids who get circumcised, then the nurses pump them for the Tylenol.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring that up, I'm gonna tell you a really wild factor. Cuba does not allow Tylenol onto their island, and there's no autism on the island.
Oh, I believe it 100%.
That is just wild.
Same thing.
One of the poorest countries in the world, and they don't allow Tylenol, and then you have us over here who are cutting off, the tips of the penis and pumping them for the Tylenol, and then you have these boys with autism. It's like,
and the vaccines. But so going back to like the trauma, these are like the first early traumas that you have, and then imagine on top of that if your mother didn't breastfeed you. And again, this is no shade to women who have something medically wrong with them and they can't do it.
Understood.
But like then you don't get that bonding with your mom
and the nutrients
that literally change your IQ because of, or the EQ rather, but also the IQ because of the benefits, the hormones, the vitamins, the nutrients that are in breast milk that can be replicated. So
I bodybuild. I lift weights. I'm in the gym often. I say that to say this. One of the best.
I know. I used to sell. I used to sell to bodybuilders.
So people say I'm weird because I do purchase frozen breast milk.
I used to
from women who's online who say I got a plethora. I have a freezer full of it.
That's how I survived when I first got here. I would sell
love
them,
it.
And
it's one of the most crazy protein,
crazy
calorie increase, most organic bodybuilding that you can have.
And so it's like then you talk about all those early traumas of like the son not getting those bonding things, the hormones, the nutrients, and then being subjected to circumcision, to vaccines, to all these things, to Tylenol, whatever. And then they go into the world, and then God forbid you have like your experience.
Correct.
How do you what happens next? Like what? So were you from 5 on, what was your sexual experiences like? Like, what was happening?
It went on to my mother not protecting me. And that kind of grew a resentment between her and I.
Yeah.
And I don't think she really understood, because I brought it to her attention a few times, and it was, washed out. Like, it was almost like, no, it's not
Washed
happening.
under the rug.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just
your
imagining
imagination.
this.
It's not
Yeah.
what's going on. So she would go and get high and drunk on the back porch. And then she had a coworker who had like a 13-year-old daughter. And then the 13-year-old daughter would come, quote unquote, babysit. But she already knew. So soon as she came into the room to quote unquote babysit, it was stark naked.
It was on.
It was
Wow.
on immediately.
And what was your age here?
I was probably about 9 then. So around 11, I could remember going to I was a latchkey kid. So that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Welfare recipient makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Molestation makes it even worse.
Yeah.
It just goes on. So I can remember around 11 years old, we was at latchkey, and there was a little pretty little black girl. She was like, if anybody pulls their their organ out, I'll suck it. So without hesitation, I've already
said that?
This is what she said. She was beautiful too. She was like 11
How
years
old was she?
She's probably about 11 years old. So without even a blink of an eye, because I've been exposed,
Yeah, of course.
I just whip out.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready for the feeling. I know what this feels like. I've had it done to me before.
It's your condition.
Right.
You're
I'm
primed.
conditioned.
Yeah.
So she just, put her mouth on me, and, the other kids like, ill. And I'm over here having a ball with it.
Yeah, because it's
But
just
again, I don't know that it's wrong. I just
it's
know
just
how
conditioned
it
behavior. And
you see?
yeah.
So I will say, as I had, proceeded forward and having sexual deviancies and things, as I got older, things like that. I heard a psychiatrist say one time that molestation is the gift that keeps on giving. Meaning, if you've been molested, you molest.
Yeah.
Me, I've never ever had an urge to. I've never thought about it. I think it's very
neither
derogatory.
It's definitely the other way.
It's
just
definitely
like,
the other
to
way.
protect
But
my son
I
and-
will say I don't know the difference between being a virgin and enjoying sex with my first partner out of curiosity, love, emotions, energy, things like that, versus being forced into it, and then I too in return just have a natural reaction to anything that's going to open up his legs.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I mean, there's so many people that have sex on a regular basis, whether it's porn stars, whether it's husbands having their, having sex with their wife, wives having sex with their partners, and there's void of intimacy in the room. It's literally just a physical act. It's like what animals do.
Right.
And there's no like connection. There's no like soul gazing. There's no like breathing together. There's no like my soul's open for you and I feel you, I hear you, I see you, I am you. It's none of that. It's fucking. And that is what the majority of the planet, the collective consciousness, that's where they reside on. That's why porn is so extensive and expansive, because that's what people are drawn to. And the planet operates at second chakra energy, which is water energy, which is what feels good, what tastes good, what I want, desire, sexual energy, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. So that's what the world operates on from a low vibration standpoint. People don't understand that there's actually a difference between intimacy, sex, and even sex and orgasm, that those things are vastly different. And so there's like, and that's why my book is called Unfuck Your Sex Life. It's like an unfucking of like what you thought you knew about intimacy. And I think for people who survived this kind of trauma, it's like they don't really understand like that their body it's just operating in a sense of what it's been programmed to operate in, but that there's a way to change that vibration, that frequency, to where you move into the frequency of love, of connection, and not be just so programmed to do physically what quote feels good. And I think that's the thing where trauma survivors have to learn to move through that, move that out of their body so that they can feel again. Because a lot of times, I don't know for you how it was, like in your relationships or if you've been married or whatnot, but so what was that like for you? What did you find?
Very hypersexual.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like it didn't even, I'm not turning, and I'm not saying like with all any, woman who passed me, it's something in the mind that triggers to say, hey, I can have her. It's almost like an automatic sickness. It's to over egotistical by even thinking I could have any woman who walks past in front of me. But it just reigned so true that it wasn't even a thought. It became innate after so long.
Yeah.
And after dating so many women, having so many sexual experiences, you go to listen, because I date various women on various ages and things, like women who's been through things, who hasn't been through things, rich, poor, whatever the case may be. And I go to learn about intimacy. And when they say, hey, I get wet when you open up the door. I get wet whenever you speak to me. I get wet whenever you do things throughout the day where you pay attention to me, and it warms my heart because I'm attracted to that. Versus me, every time you pass me, I'm trying to grab your ass, I'm trying to fuck.
Yeah.
I want to fuck. I'm trying to bust that shit wide open. I'm trying to back that shit to the moon. I ain't hands down. I'm trying to kill that little shit. But over the time, because it was forced on me and it was taken from me, it's almost like an aggressive state, not to say, well, I'm going to, me and you go together. I'm not going to rape you, of course. Yeah. But in a sense, every time you pass me, I'm going to grab your ass. Every time you got a shower, every time we're in the kitchen.
Well, it's a more primitive, like physical attraction. Like I have to have this versus like a connection.
Right, versus a connection.
Yeah.
So dating throughout my years of men and women I've dated, I've come to understand that a woman is more than an object. A woman is more than just her vagina. The things that turn her on is really not in her ovaries. She gets, her glands are turned on through intimacy as we speak. And it isn't necessarily sexual intimacy. It's with food, it's with attention, it's with words, it's with kind gestures, it's with opening up the door, things like that.
Yeah.
So I again, going back to the very beginning, had I not been molested by my older, cousin who was a female, I don't know how it would have changed, the dynamics, because I can't never go back to virginity.
Yeah. I mean, no, it does set the standard for your future relationships. And I think that's what the thing about sexuality that's so fascinating is like, and so it like you said before, it like builds and builds and builds. And I think with the practice that I teach, it's less about like all those things you said, which are great things. And that's what most people think, as women, that's what a woman wants. But what women really, really want is they want presence. And the way that is facilitated is through the breath and through connection and through no words and through being and sitting with a woman and through, just placing your hands on her heart. And when you talk about polarity, it's like this opens up this. And a lot of people don't understand that. They go straight here. Right. So it's like these nuances that the tantric path teaches. It's like, it's all about polarity. And so you might have this prowess because you felt like, I had no control. So now I have control because I can go after who I want. I can get who I want. I can do what I want. And now I'm controlling the narrative versus before you were the one being controlled, right? It was a mind game for you. It was a manipulation. And so now it's like you're an adult and, you've had your sexual experiences, but then like, what now? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where do you go from here? Right. Like, when is the sexual experience fulfilled? When is it like, when are you like, I'm actually like, I'm satiated. I feel connected to God, all these types of things that you can have during sex. And most people never experience their whole life with or without trauma. So it's like, how do you rewrite those stories? Grew up in very sexually repressed after being sexually abused as a child. So it was a lot of fuckery that happened.
A lot of mental stress and things.
Yes. And then from being a veteran and being injured and being sort of tossed out by the Army and not knowing my rights, then I went straight into the adult industry in Vegas where I was dancing, and then I had pimp, and then faked my own death to escape that life. And like, then I found my healing journey, which was Tantra. And I moved back to Thailand to study and heal. So very interesting.
No, it's very interesting.
How it like all came full circle.
So in the region is the reason why I asked you. In the region, the various regions teaches people different things and how they, were brought up in the home. I'm sure that California is not raising the same way that the children are raised in Florida.
I don't believe that at all. Or even in Texas, like how families are raised there, it's different.
It's it definitely.
None of what I think today is how I was raised. This was all how I was taught.
Right. And that's in this moment. I'm gonna speak about where I'm from, Florida, in the state, and I say that what I've noticed in the South, because I'm a Southern man myself, very charming, very handsome, things of this nature. What I've noticed in down in my area is that the mother never teaches the daughter about how to love the man. They only teach the daughter that he's handsome, he respects you, he provides for you. And then, but once you have this man, this is what you do to keep him. This is how you love him. This is how you respect him. This is how you invest in him. That's never taught. It's only taught that the man looks good, he respects you, and provides for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
anything after
protects
that,
you. Hopefully protects you.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But anything outside of that, it's never. So a woman comes out into the world and then she starts dating only from what her mother taught. 3 4 things. Protection, provide, looks good, and respects you. But what do you do after you get this man? How do you love him? How do you keep him? How do you treat him? How do you teach him? And the unfortunate part is a woman. Again, I'm only speaking from the South. The women who I've dealt with, I haven't, been all over the world. A lot of women, they don't know how to keep a man once a man returns the love, once the man provides, once the man protects, once the man respects. You don't even have the aspect or the intellect to even give that back.
Yeah.
You wasn't taught it, you see, because your mother was only worried about keeping you, provided for, keeping, the respect and make sure he looks good on your arm.
Yes.
So whenever we journey out into, because majority of men, the mother did the same thing to us.
Yeah.
Make sure she look good, make sure she take care of you. But if you find her, what happens next? We wasn't taught that either.
Yeah.
So now we're out in the world, and the first thing that I have learned from myself, which was an abuser, and the woman who I date had experience prior to me with other men who were abusers.
Yeah.
So now you have 2 abused people trying to come along and fix each other with no.
It's always like that.
It's always like that. So
it's like 2 people are always like, 2 halves make a whole. No, 2 halves make 2 halves.
Right.
Like
there is no whole.
Need
right.
2 wholes to come to, and the Bible says to become one. It's like you have 2 people who have healed, who've done the work, and despite whatever traumas and dramas they've had, they found a place to be vulnerable, to be, receptive to not trauma dump, but to be like, I've gone through things, but here's the work I've done. I'm still healing. And those 2 people can actually meet because there's a space for them to grow and to connect. But if you have 2 broken people, you still just have 2 broken people. And I think that, but beyond that point,
right.
How do you keep a man? How do you keep a man? And most women cannot do that.
They cannot do
They can get a man, but they can't keep him.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, so then you have all these women that think, oh yeah, I got this man, I got them. But I'm like, no, you don't, bitch.
Right. The sex in the bed is not what's going to move me. Your looks is not going to keep.
No.
A child's not going to keep. A man is only going to be kept where he wants to be kept at, where he feels the most peace.
Yeah.
And at times, a woman who is seductive, who has money, who is great looking, who stays in gym, has these surgeries, they can't understand why the men is running off to.
They're running off to women who are less attractive.
And I'm going to tell you why.
I already know.
Because she knows how to play her role and how to respect him.
That's right.
And he is more comfortable at a state of peace of mind with her. So whenever we get into, I have probably the worst case in relationships. Not because of me, because I try.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with me. I'm with 75% of my clients are women who are gorgeous and who are rich and who are on the TV. So now here comes.
Oh, really? In your service?
In my service. So, they're in the black trucks, we're in the Airbnbs, we're in the hotels, we're in the resorts, we're on the yachts. They have, the breast out. They're out tanning on the deck. Tanning on the island. And then, you and I are speaking, and when I hang up the phone, you see these pictures and, being, through TMZ, whatever, you see me stand. And then in your head, you go to thinking about shit that doesn't, but in your mind, you're like, what does he want me for? Why does he want, I don't have her money. I don't have her looks. I can't afford surgery. Why does this man wants to attach himself to me? And then you go to self-sabotaging the relationship because you're thinking about stuff that wasn't there. But then now you go to telling yourself stories. You go to believing these stories. These stories are lies. That's not what's going on here because I don't sleep with my clients. But the whole time, I'm thinking that I'm doing right by you, and we're arguing. I'm trying to get to the point of why we're arguing all the time. And the whole time, now I just want to leave.
Yeah.
And this is in every relationship.
And I think that, but even just your quote, regular woman, not middle America woman, but like modern feminist woman today, she's making a lot of money. She's making even more than the men today, or equal or more in some cases. And so she's like, man, I don't really need men anymore. Right. And so
But that's the way this society is. It's not the 60s.
No.
It's not the man goes in the field, the woman stays home, cook biscuits, and raise the family. This society has taught us each individual be independent for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, on both sides.
And so then the women are like, I could really care less. I'll take it or leave it.
Right.
And they're also using men just the same way
As
men are
men
using women. Women are using men. And I had this conversation.
Where do we draw the line?
Like, well, how are you treating him?
Right. Or better yet, how are you treating yourself?
Yeah,
Because
of
I have
course.
found myself, unfortunately, if a woman's not respecting herself, I too am not going to respect her.
Well, men are just following the behavior that you are exemplifying
Right.
for yourself.
They approach every man in the same manner as if this man is that man.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part to come into any relationship, to have the attitude.
It's like an interview. It's like, what do you do? How much do you make dating now? It's like, how much you make? Do you check this? And it's like, but then I want to ask the women, like, but what do you bring to the table, honey?
That's my biggest question.
And like, how are you showing up? Besides, take all that makeup off, take all the surgery away, do all that. Like, what are you offering?
You know, in today's society, whenever you start dating a woman, she automatically sees you as her financier. She automatically sees you as her financial management. She automatically sees you as an ATM, constant. And it's like, because I'm dating you, where do you get the financial obligation that is my obligatory duty to take care of you, your bills, your car note, your phone? Honey, I work, I have my own, but there's not that much vagina in the world to give me that I want to buy into. It's not sexually pleasing.
And but there is some men who will do that. And I see a lot of middle American men, they're like, I take care of everything for my wife and da-da-da. And so I want to ask you, so have you had were you married? Have you had a serious relationship?
Oh, I've never been married. And I know I'm going to get ridiculed in the comments for this so bad, but we're here to express
of course.
I haven't met a woman who I want to give my entirety to yet, because a woman hasn't showed me nothing beyond selfishness, nothing beyond egotistical, nothing else beyond seeing me as a financier.
Why do you think that is?
The society. This is what, she has deemed to be taught, and it's men's fault who have came before me in a relationship, because men do it and they allow it to do it.
Yeah.
And it just goes on and on because they are teaching her that it's okay to do it.
Yeah.
But just like we say, every man that a woman say, I want to find a rich, you come to see me about some shit that you have to understand that how I earn my money, I don't sit on my ass. How I earn my money, I don't go to a corporate office. I'm out in the field.
It's your own, it's your own
my
business,
blood goes in. I may not come home.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not ready to relinquish the money that I'm going to die for.
Yeah.
For you a Chanel purse.
Well,
I'm not interested in that.
I haven't done that yet. But and I also
understand, it's a different ideology for me.
I also think the question is if you want a different result, you have to ask a different question, right? And I think for women, it's a lot of it's oh, I want this provider, this and that and this, and all those things are great, as I think they should. But at the same time, it's asking, like I said, how feminine am I? And how much am I willing to surrender? How much am I willing to give up control and follow someone?
The biggest thing with women that I find is the submissiveness.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's never there.
How much am I?
It's never there.
And that's why I said those women who want that, they want this type of man that's like the 6'6" on papers, over 6 feet 6 inches, or six figure, all the stuff.
Right.
But then they're not willing to do the other part. Do you think a man's oh, I want a woman who is controlling, who uses me for money, who's not willing to the questions, people are oh, body count. I'm not saying go fuck around, because yes, for women, the least amount of people that she's involved with is going to, it could negatively, it's more positive to have less. But today and age, it just doesn't really happen like that. It just doesn't. So the questions you should be asking is how is this woman going to stand by my side? How is this woman going to show up feminine for me? Is this woman going to help me take care of my aging family? Is this woman going to take care of me if something happens to me?
And that's why
is she going to be a good mother for my children?
Right.
These are the questions, not how many men has she slept with?
Right.
Because that's already fucking done.
It's over with. So going back to the $8,000 purse, some women are going to be in the comments saying, oh, he cheap, he don't want to buy the purse. No, I would, because some people are already rich.
Yeah.
I would rather take that $8,000, us go buy some property,
Yeah.
clear it out.
It's just the
things
priorities
like-
are so wrong.
The priorities, right.
It's
So,
just- yeah.
women today are so focused on the money.
What we can get on the gram and things like that
Right.
instead of
It's-
just
it's
like,
ugly.
what can we build together? How can we grow together?
So my thing, well, whenever we're dating, I'm not asking about your body count. I want to talk about, investment. I want to talk about realty. I want to talk about property. I want to talk about, your goals. I want to talk about continuing
values.
education. I want to talk about religion.
Spiritual
I want to talk about
growth,
travel.
your
You see what I'm
aspirations,
saying?
yeah.
These are things. And if it gets to that point where we feel like we really want to grow, the next question is, do we need a psychiatrist? Do we need therapy? Do we need
You need to
counseling?
come to my
outside of-
retreat and
Right,
do
what-
some work.
What can we do to
Yeah.
better ourselves? Because today's evils in society are perpetuated through everything we do.
And the
Everything.
thing is that's crazy. I think is so crazy today is that people were never taught about relationships, intimacy, or sex. There's a manual on how to do it, but there's not one for intimacy. And most parents didn't tell their children.
Correct.
So then you don't have a parameter for what intimacy, what a successful, lasting, passionate, intimate relationship looks like. Where do you learn that? Well, if you're lucky enough to know me, you come to my retreat, you get my book, and I give you a rule book, a manual, and I'm launching my app next that's going to show men and women how to actually the first AI-powered sexual archetype compatibility and longevity. So I'll predict how long your relationship is going to last, if you're sexually compatible, and a bunch of other things to see if you're a good match.
Correct.
And this is just something that you're just not taught. And so
not
it's like you
And
can't blame anyone.
Right. And you can't blame the parents either because they weren't taught
they
either.
just did what they
Right. They just through the relationships that we have, whether it's a coworker, your spouse, your mother, your
Yeah.
children. I too take the same thing and break down everything, and then we start compartmentalize and showing you how to protect and provide and have peace and give you different elements every week. I give you small challenges, and you come back. I give you small bars of energy. Where did you put your energy at in this relationship this week? And it's the same thing I teach along the lines as far the relationship and human compatibility is what we need to get back to. Fuck the money,
Yeah.
fuck presidency and the politics and the religion. Get back to human compatibility where it started at. If we can put a grasp on the origin, if we can get to the root, then with that flower, with water, with nature, it will grow and it will rise to the sun.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about, in the end, it's always about, in my book, it's about the ultimate union. And that's really what we're all searching for.
Everybody's
People
searching
think
for
they want sex,
genuine
but they
love.
really want intimacy.
Intimacy. They
I'm
want
so
that
curious, like, have you ever been in love?
No.
No, never.
No, I haven't. I've never been in love. I have had love for women who I've dated. I have taken my time out to try to provide for women, show her better. I have dated younger women who grew up without their father. And
But that's provision and that's being a dad. But like, have you ever like been in love?
No.
Like, no.
No.
Does that make you feel like you're missing something?
no, because you can't miss what you never had.
Is it something that you want to experience?
Of course. Who would? It's innate. You should want that.
What do you think is going to be the catalyst to help you get there?
They're not going to like this either. Date them all till you find the right one.
Sort of like just needle in the haystack, figure it out.
It's that, just like you said, the
Interesting.
small, the very small. It's out there.
What are some green flags for you?
Education.
Education? What else?
Two-parent home.
Two-parent home?
If a woman grows
Even
up.
though you were in a one-parent.
Correct.
Why is that?
Because a woman who grows up with a father understands the difference between protection and control. So let me give you an example. Would you use you as an example? Say you, and I don't know, and we're just going to paraphrase.
Yeah.
Say you grew up with two, and I'm going to use both sides with
Yeah.
you. You grew up in a two-parent home. You have heard your father say, hey, what time you coming home?
Yeah.
You tell your father, I'm coming home at 1 o'clock. And your father says, no, I prefer to be home at 11 because nothing after 11 happens good.
Yeah.
So you have had this provision. You understand that your father cannot have sex with you. So it triggers your mind to understand the element of protection. It's not control. Your father is simply expressing to you, I want you home in my house by 11. It's not control, it's protection. It's a bigger vision.
Yeah.
Let's go to the opposite. A woman who didn't grow up with the father saying, hey, I need you home at 11 because I want to protect you. I want to keep your peace. I want you in my house so I know you're safe. A woman who didn't grow up with those words
Parameters,
of love.
yeah.
So then she has a man now, because she's never heard it, and now the man is saying, hey, baby, going out with your girlfriends tonight, what time you coming home? Well, I'll be home around 2 or 3, and your man says, honey, I would prefer that you be home 11, 12 o'clock. Fuck you, you trying to control me. I don't like that shit. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So when you talk about a two-parent home, when you talk about a woman who grew up with a father, she's able to compartmentalize and understand that my man loves me. This isn't control. And as a woman who too loves my man, I want to be home because we go back to submissiveness and not control. So when you ask me that, that's the reason why the ideology changes.
I understand. So you said education, two-parent household. What else? Green flags.
Career.
Okay, so career oriented.
She has to be independent.
So she doesn't have to be wealthy, but she has to do something. Even if she worked at Walmart and she went every day and she's doing her best to get
that shows
her school.
Me character. That shows me that she understands me.
Do you only date black women?
I'm gonna be honest.
Seems like you've mentioned them several times.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Is that because that's what you grew up with?
Yes, and I have yet to have a experience or a date or a Caucasian woman come on to me or that is attracted to me. And I don't know if it's my swag, I don't know if it's my voice, but I have yet
fair enough.
Have a white woman who said, hey, you know what, I kind of like your style of me.
Is there such a thing? I'm just doing some rapid fire. Is there such a thing as bisexual? Do you believe, or is there just gay and straight for men?
I think it's.
Can you take dick or suck dick and just say that was for pay, like Diddy's escorts and stuff, which I've interviewed a couple of them, and that's just for pay, but you're not gay? Or is there bisexual? Is there straight and gay for men, or is there quote bisexual for men too, as a man? Because I am feel very strong about this, but I'm so curious to your thoughts.
Okay, so here's my thought. I go back to everything starts in the home. I don't believe that you're born gay. I don't believe that. That's just me.
Personally,
and I don't want nobody to like cure. This is my own thought.
This is me too.
It's a taught behavior.
Yeah.
It's not a gene.
Right. Yeah.
So it starts in the house.
Yeah, I believe.
We go from that racism starts in the house.
Yep.
Hating black people, hating white people, being gay, not having religion, not having the proper guidance, not having a proper.
It's all conditioned learned behavior.
It's all conditioned learning behavior. So if you're tampered with, and you become bisexual, because whenever and I'm just using this, say a father has sexual encounters with his son. You seeing this is his first encounter. Then he goes, and there's things, it's peer pressure and stuff, then he goes and have sex with women. Well, then as he gets a little older, now he starts having sex with men and women.
Yeah.
This is a controlled behavior.
Yeah.
It was taught because he was, vandalized in the beginning in the home.
I agree with you on that. So I personally, and not to shit on gays or the LGBT community at all. It's just I believe it's learned. I don't believe you're born that way.
Yeah, I definitely.
Yeah, so
and don't get me wrong.
I'll die on that sword.
I love white people, black people.
Absolutely.
I love Muslim, Jews, Christians. I love LGBTQ. Whatever you're into, honey, do your thing. Do it big. You understand what I'm saying? Is everybody going to agree with you? No, but do what makes you feel right. Because I'm going to do what I want to, feel right as well.
What about the cuck behavior, where it's like men who are paying for other men to like BBC to like dick down their wives or their girlfriends. This is a fetish. Did you know about this?
Yeah, of course. And I experienced, I too had, I've had the experience with Diddy at his house 4 times. So I've experienced this, and I've had clients, who too. For me, I don't care. It doesn't, because you have paid me to be here, and I have other responsibilities. If that's what you're into, great. For me, I want me and my lady to be one-on-one. If she wants to have an experience like that, I would like for her to come and express that to me versus cheating on me. Mm-hmm. My theory.
But what do you think that is with men? I mean, why do you think men are so happy with paying for another man, typically BBC or bigger, stronger men, to fuck his wife in front of him? What do you think that is?
That's psychology.
Yeah.
That's definitely psychology. Yeah. It's a learned behavior. Something happened in that childhood to make him want to experience that, whether he was forced, whether something was took from him. It's something that's off. It's okay to have sexual deviancy, don't get me wrong, but there's
sexual fantasies and deviancies, I think, are slightly different. A fantasy is something that it's like, that's your fantasy and no one can tell you that's wrong as long as it's not hurting someone or illegal.
Right. I could go.
Deviancy, I think, it's like, that's me, it's deviant. So it's like deviant behavior, which is like me.
So when I say sexual deviancy, for me, I'm saying it's not missionary.
Oh.
It has it diverts from
It's a shadow. It's a sexual shadow or archetype that's different than the normal.
right the
quote,
norm.
normal
That's for me.
yeah.
That's what when I say
Okay.
sexual deviancy.
So I
I'm
think
not talking
deviance,
about.
I'm thinking like perversion or something
No,
like
I'm
that.
just saying it's beyond the normal
Okay,
missionary.
I
So,
got you.
Sexual deviancy might be, a kink. It might be handcuffs. It might be, things like. For me, I understand that to be sexual deviancy. If I'm using that wrong, I can stay on the straight, and that's what we're here for.
Last two questions. Does good sex lead to emotional intimacy, or emotional intimacy lead to good sex?
Emotional intimacy leads to good
Okay.
sex.
Why?
You have to be cognizant about the partner who you're with, and when going back to intimacy, it isn't just in this moment. It's about things that transpired throughout the day before we got to this moment. It was conversations that were had. It was paid attention. It was time where I set my phone down and said, "Okay, babe, you got my undivided attention.
Yeah.
I hear you." A woman is triggered by that. A woman loves to have that. A woman hears that, and she knows. In return, the intimacy comes back because she wants to give herself to you.
Agree.
Then.
So, and last one here is, do women cheat as much as men?
I think women cheat more.
Correct. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Hands down.
I
Men
agree.
are too busy trying to conquer the earth.
Yeah.
Women are too busy trying to. A man will choose his home over happiness. A woman would give up her home for her happiness.
Yeah.
Right.
And then last, final one. You know how long the average man lasts during sex?
I don't know.
3 to 5 minutes.
Get the fuck out of
Do you know how long it takes for the average woman who has the ability to orgasm, which most of them don't? It takes her do you know how long?
15 to 17 minutes.
It's 20 to 40 minutes for her to reach climax. Yeah. So the
3 to
orgasm
5
gap.
minutes.
Yeah. The average man.
Oh, baby.
Testosterone's the lowest that's ever been on the planet.
Really?
Yeah. Right. So, anything that you want to say or promote? Last words.
Yes, please. So, for those who don't know, I own a luxury transportation service in Tampa, Florida. We go through from Miami to Atlanta and everything in between. If you want birthdays, girls' night out, guys' night out, weddings, you want a airport, that's what we do. Black Label Services. You can catch me on Instagram, black_label_services. And I also have written a movie that I'm starting to shoot.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a
gonna be
comedy.
great.
It's going to be
yeah.
amazing.
It's gonna be
I
good.
literally have the #1 movie in America right now in my phone.
I can't wait. We'll have a part 2 of this conversation, either if I'm down there or when he comes back out here. So we'll see you on the next one. Remember that if you haven't had intimacy before, then you really haven't lived, because once you've experienced intimacy that is not sex, or that is like, it could be with sex, but once you really experience intimacy and like the ultimate union, like I talk about in the book, there's nothing like it on the planet, and I'll keep you coming back for more. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll
Fellas,
see you on the next one.
if you want another side of a woman, follow me, my YouTube, Black Label Lounge. We discuss the same ramification of life, relationships, and the perspective of men honoring the women who they date and understanding them more. Relationship therapy.
I love it. All right. We'll see you then. Mwah. Bye.